What's up, everybody? Welcome to Cracker Hunters. I'm Carolina Hitman.
I'm Anubis.
And today we got another Quarter to Dead video for y'all today. Got a request from one of our subscribers. Hank, what's his last name? Slot?
Hank Slight?
Yeah, Slot, I think
Slot?
it is. Yeah.
Something like that.
Hank Slot. He asked us to do a comparison video between the two figures you have in front of you today.
Oglavaeil.
And
Mortighull.
Yeah, Mortighull. I forgot what his is called. The Reaper General or...
Oh, something like General something.
Something like that. And I know Mortighull is the Executioner.
Yeah.
But yeah, he asked us to do a comparison video between these two today.
Which we were kind of wondering when somebody was going to ask us to do an Oglavaeil.
Yeah, I know, man. No one's asked for that one. Which
yeah, I know.
He's actually one of my favorite ones.
Oglavaeil?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I like to. Yeah. Well, they're all my favorites.
They're all pretty cool.
Yeah, they are. But yeah, so we got these two Oglavaeil and Mortighull today, and we're going to be doing, you know how we do our comparisons. We're going to go through a couple categories and just talk about which one we think is the best one, and I guess which one we prefer.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. So, first things first, we're going to start off with the base. Now, whose base do you think is better?
I guess it really just depends. Honestly, does Scratch count as the base?
Well, I think one of the things that makes Oglavaeil's base a little bit unique, even though the top is plain, what makes it unique is that you can combine it with Scratch. That's one of the things I wish they would actually do a little bit more of. Just making the bases to where you can combine them with other, maybe smaller characters.
Like you can put another piece over there too, like on the other side.
Right, yeah, right here, yeah. But that's one of the things I wish that they would do with some more of their statues is integrate some smaller characters like he has.
Yeah,
maybe
or like
just
Gethsemane too. Also.
Yeah, like with her little minions. Yeah, just maybe put something on the base where you can put them on or slide them in or something like that, like Oglavaeil has with Scratch.
Now, I mean, does he count as part of the base, Scratch?
I wouldn't say I wouldn't know. Honestly, I wouldn't think so. Technically.
Okay, so we'll just go by just the platform then.
Okay, well, the platform on Oglavaeil is pretty damn. There's really nothing special.
Yeah, it's
a very basic base. Yeah.
And then you got the Mortighull base. Which
man. Now,
that's not plain Jane at all.
No, it's not. One of the things I love about it, which of course y'all know, I'll post pictures so you can see, because these two big ass statues, I don't feel like rotating them and everything. Yeah. And one day I'm gonna get another black rotating thing for two figures.
Right.
We got one. Table. Yeah. I think I'm gonna get one in the next couple of days. But one of the things I love about Mortighull's base is how they do, and again I'll post pictures. How they do the rib cages and stuff on the back of his and all the skulls right there.
Yeah, and you know what I like about it, man? I like how they simulate dirt.
And they do a really good job, especially with the it looks like a half buried body or a buried body that eventually the weather washed away enough of it to where you can see the bones and skulls and stuff.
And you can still see the mud and dirt inside the ribs.
Right.
Like, you know, how it would be. Same way with like underneath his feet and on these skulls back here. Yeah, and hell, even right here on the front.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
Right here.
Yep. So that's one of the main things why I really liked Mortighull's bases, because all the detail with the bones and rib cages coming out of the dirt and everything.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Honestly, you can't have Quarter of the Dead without about a million fucking skulls.
I swear. Like I said, that video is going to be coming one day. We're going to eventually post, we're going to do pictures and we're going to post how many skulls every single Quarter of the Dead statue has, and tally them up. That video will be coming sometime later this year. We're going to do that eventually.
Well,
it's going to take a while. Yeah, because there's a lot of skulls on every single one of these Quarter of the Dead statues. Yeah. There's at least 10 to 15 on each one.
I think the one that has the least amount is probably Shard.
And even she has like 10 on her. Yeah. Just on her base.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's a lot of skulls.
But I think we'll have to give the base, if we're not counting Scratch.
If we're not counting, even if we were counting Scratch, I still have to give the base to Mortighull because his base is a lot more detailed.
Yeah.
Because even with the combination of Scratch, the base itself is still not very detailed.
Yeah, it's still pretty plain.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I like the little symbols that they got in there.
And the skulls on the sides and bottom of it.
And the bones.
Yeah.
So like I think that they did a good job for what he had to have.
Exactly.
And he doesn't need much.
And I think too, it made him easier to be able to combine them with that limited amount of detail on the top. It made him easier to figure out a way to combine both of those statues without having to put as much detail on both of these to make them look right together.
And I think honestly, if you put too much on his base, it's going to take away from his excellence.
Right, and he is an excellent statue. Like I said, so I think we'll have to give the base to Mortighull on that one.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do the pose next.
Pose.
So who do you think has the better pose?
Honestly, I think. Okay. I think Oglavaeil has the better pose. It seems.
Forgive me for drinking Budweiser. Someone, he brought Budweiser today.
Hey, Budweiser's still better than nothing. But
fair enough.
I think Oglavaeil's pose. It looks like he's got kind of a target that he's going after. You know, he's got a target as to where Mortighull's mainly using his pose as more like a defense pose. Like, I'm waiting.
Right, and his is more of a stationary pose. Oglavaeil with the inclusion of his mixed media makes it look like he's walking towards something.
Right.
Like he's walking.
Or floating or whatever he does.
And I like Mortighull's pose more because of the way they found a way to do those double swords.
Yeah, those huge
like he's got
swords.
huge ass swords. And plus, if we're, like I said, I think this one will put Scratch in there.
Yeah.
With him, like his dog is moving around with him.
Yeah, they're both going to the same. They're going in the same direction. They're looking at the same target.
Right. And for me, like I said, I just think Mortighull is just a little too stationary. He's a little just standing still like a knight or something like that. Nothing major. No big thing as far as the pose and everything.
Right.
That's why I've always liked Mortighull's pose, especially with the mixed media and the swords, man.
Right.
Those swords, man, just really give a lot of oomph to his statue. Otherwise, because I think his statue is kind of plain, but I think for him, it doesn't need to be all just blah.
I don't know. I don't think.
Well, they have a second version of him coming out, don't you?
I know.
Yeah, I'll be getting it. Don't worry about it.
I don't think I've seen any pictures of the prototype yet. But
okay.
But I didn't know they were making another one. But I think if you add in Scratch too, I mean, the pose itself is a little bit more dynamic.
It is.
And rather than just the standard waiting defense pose that Mortighull's got here.
Because let's be honest, Mortighull's pose is a little boring. It's a little boring.
Yeah, it's a little standard.
Right, but when we get to another category, I think that is on purpose.
Right.
But yeah, because we'll get to that category in a minute. Yeah, but like I said, I think Mortighull's pose just portrays motion a little bit better, and is more. I mean, Oglavaeil's portrays motion a little bit better, and is, like you said, a little bit more dynamic.
Right.
Especially with the inclusion of Scratch.
Right.
It just looks like he's, like you said, going towards something.
Yeah, he's ready to cut somebody or something's head off.
Right. So you're gonna give the pose to Oglavaeil?
Yeah, I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, so I agree. I think this Oglavaeil's pose is just a little bit more dynamic. So we're gonna give the pose to Oglavaeil. Now here comes the one.
Sculpt.
Yep.
Now
we're talking about
Sculpt and portrait.
Yeah, sculpted portrait. All right. So I think this one's pretty easy one, as far as a sculpt.
One-sided.
A little bit more, because Mortighull was released a little bit later, and you can tell like Oglavaeil was one of the first, like I don't want to say first wave, I'd say first wave and a half, maybe into the second wave, because Mortighull is like the fourth wave of statues, like third or fourth.
He's not even that old.
No, he's only like a year old, if that. I think he came out.
No, he's.
I think October last year, November last year. I think that's when he got released.
I could have swore it was like earlier this year.
No. It was last year. I just got it this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think so he's a lot newer than Oglavaeil, so you can tell.
That still doesn't change the fact though that he's got a lot more detail than Oglavaeil. Even Oglavaeil, even in his newer statue, I'm sure it's still about the same character.
And I think so too. I don't think there was many changes. I think there's a few changes, and there's a lot more color to it. But for the most part, I think it's about the same. But yeah, Mortighull's statue, man, that sculpt is amazing.
It's the armor.
It really is.
And I think they made a really wise decision with the mixed media, making sure it didn't cover up too much.
Right.
They have a problem with that sometimes. You lose a lot of detail with the mixed media.
And I have to agree.
And I think that they did a great job the way they did it on him.
Just balancing.
Yeah, it's just back here.
Which in Mortighull's defense too, his mixed media actually doesn't cover up that much because you can put it like flow it behind him.
Well, he kind of floats anyway. He doesn't really walk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he really doesn't because he doesn't have like legs, which I don't know if that was on purpose or he has legs.
I think that is
just not.
They're like nubby kind of.
Yeah.
It's like play my little hand. But but like honestly, I mean, his mixed media doesn't really hide anything except on his back.
And that's just because it does hide a very good back. Which like I say, I'll take some pictures of that so y'all can see.
You got a
spine,
skeleton female with a sickle, scythe or whatever.
Right. But like this is not to take anything away from Mortighull's. It's just that Mortighull's, you can tell this was in the beginning of the line where they're still trying to learn, still trying to find and invent some new ways to make these characters unique. And you can tell the difference between Oglavaeil and Mortighull just by the difference in the time that they were created, how much more detail that even some of the other statues from the earlier versions like Gethsemane, Caire, they're not very detailed. They're very good statues, but this is when Court of the Dead was really starting
out.
Yeah, and
getting their bearings.
Exactly. And plus, when you're starting on a new line, you don't know if it's going to take off. You don't know if it's going to sell. So let's just. I don't want to say do bare minimum because they damn sure didn't do bare minimum with any of the Court of Dead.
No, they not only that, but you forget though the sculpt with scratch.
Right, exactly.
I mean those hands.
Oh, that's some creepy shit right there.
Not only that, his face, his spine.
Right.
They did a great job with the face on Oglavaeil too.
And I love the glow. I love how Court of the Dead gets that kind of glowy eyes look.
Yeah.
They do a really good job on that.
And just the uniqueness of their face.
Right, I agree.
He don't even have a mandible.
Nope, which I think the newer one is going to be more like the bust, where you have the mandible.
He's got that helmet on.
Something like that, yeah. But just Mortighull has so much, and we've talked about in our previous review of just Mortighull. It's so much detail to where it's almost too much.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, it almost is because there's so much to take in.
Well, hell, he's got 10 skulls right here on his crown.
Right. I think Mortighull probably has the most skulls out of anyone.
Him and Death.
I don't even think Death has nowhere near as many.
Maybe
maybe. Nah, Dimethal doesn't really either.
Yeah. Well, maybe Mortighull does.
I think Mortighull has probably the most skulls out of all his armor.
Yeah.
And then you have the chains, like I said, pitches. The chain, like his arms being chained behind him, which I still don't know what that represents, by the way.
Maybe they're like berserker arms.
Maybe.
If you unchain them, they kind of do whatever the hell they want.
As long as they follow directions.
I don't think they do. That might be
But maybe that's why. Right.
That might be why they're chained.
And you have the wings right here, and the detail in his face with his glowing eyes, and just all the detail in his armor. And like Anubis said, his mixed media is very minimal. So it doesn't take away from all the detail in his armor.
Because if he had mixed media, like say
Dimethal,
all of this
would be covered.
Would be pointless to have because it wouldn't even be showing.
Right, and like I said, this sculpt is so amazing. And like I said, this is not to take anything away from Mortighull. Mortighull is very good.
I think it's just the difference between the characters is what it is.
And I think that too, he's more of a warrior.
Yeah, he's an executioner.
Right, so all he needs is those big ass swords just to chop somebody's head off.
I do think his swords are better than...
Oh yeah, that's not even a question. Yeah, his swords are way better.
The sculpt, the sculpt of them, because they even got like a little story on them with him and Scratch. And, but honestly, I think it is a little bit one-sided. Even when you add the portrait in to each character, it's still a little bit one-sided. Not much, but...
Let me reach up here. Sorry, everybody. I forgot one thing. And plus, Mortighull has his extra mask, which even adds more detail covering up his face.
I don't know. I like it better. I would have it with the mask off.
Me too. I prefer it with the unmasked version.
Because you get to see a big old scar on his face.
Right. Oh, I prefer the unmasked version as well.
Right. But I still think that if I pick one, it would be Mortighull.
Oh yeah, Mortighull easily wins the sculpt part of this.
And the portrait.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say the portrait too. I say, but
Because, I mean, you add this on there too.
Right.
You know?
So yeah, exactly. So I think we have to give the sculpt / portrait to Mortighull.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
definitely.
now we come to the paint application. So who do you think has the better paint application?
Personally, I don't really think either one of them have. I think it's kind of even.
I disagree.
Well, hold on. Let me explain, because I know you get all the metallic looks and the metallic paint on Mortighull, but you get a lot of the flesh tones on Scratch, and you get a lot of the executioner style kind of dark looking paint here on Oglavaeil that kind of I mean, it's kind of really hard to mess up. But if you do mess it up, it's obvious.
Right, yeah,
So,
that's true.
And
with Mortighull, you have a lot more leeway with so much going on.
Yeah,
you're able to maybe make a mistake here or there.
And nobody would notice.
Yeah.
Like the difference between the two arm colors,
Right.
Honestly, you wouldn't even notice it unless you were right up on it.
And that's true. Like I said, and that's some of the advantages Mortighull has over Oglavaeil, is being able to hide a lot more imperfections because of so much detail in there. And I know that seems like an oxymoron, hiding the mistakes in a lot of detail, but because there's so much detail, there's always something to draw your attention away from maybe a small mistake that maybe have been made on Mortighull. It's just so much going on, so you don't even really have time to really focus on just one imperfection because you got all this other shit going on in the statue.
Yeah. It's so much, it's easy to miss something.
Right. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I think I was agreeing with you.
But you were.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so much
smart.
going on. Huh?
No.
Anyway.
But I agree that maybe but with Oglavaeil, his paint application is pretty plain. It is
pretty basic.
It's very basic. It's one mainly flesh tone, which is like this grayish black tone. The most of his like weathering and stuff is in his armor, in his swords. One of the things I do love better on his swords than Oglavaeil's plain ass garbage. I'm sorry, Corey the Dead. Y'all failed us on Mortighull's skull. Y'all could have done a lot better. Sword. Y'all could have done a lot better on the weathering and making that thing look metal. That just looks cheap.
Yeah.
And I was a little disappointed with that aspect of like all this amazing detail, and you cheap out on that. Yeah.
And then there's this.
Yeah. I that's the only complaint I think even in our review.
Yeah.
That was like the really only complaint we had was that sword looks cheap compared to the rest of this awesome statue. But Mortighull is just a very plain statue, but most of his detail went into looks like his swords and his armor on his back, and then like so even his scratch, which they did an amazing job.
Even on his belt too, though. I mean, they put a lot of paint in that belt. Too,
right. Yeah.
It's the Court of
Dead symbol. Right.
But it's got the blues and everything in it.
So I still would give the paint application to Mortighull just for the simple fact that it's still a lot more you've got to weather. You've got to make that armor match up. You got to mix that oxidation and like the weathering and the armor
rust,
stuff.
The rust and look on the bronze.
Exactly. So there's a lot more that you have to do with Mortighull than you do with Oglavaeil. Because Oglavaeil is pretty plain as far as his base paint application.
I don't know. I still think that if you have something base, a plain paint application, I think if you do it right, it really works for it.
Oh, Oglavaeil is proof of that. Yeah,
I know, and that's what
I
I'm
agree.
saying. I think that's why I like it more. And plus, we're looking at scratch too.
Right.
You go from white to a maroon.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and not only that, you got the different tones in his face and everything. And I think it was just all done perfectly. And for me, I'm thinking Oglavaeil's got the paint.
Really?
Yeah. Just because it's...
Yeah, I think his would show a paint defect a lot more than
you would notice
Mortighull would. You would notice a defect in his paint application or statue a lot quicker because it's
so plain and so basic. But still, if you get it done and you do it right, just because it's a basic paint application doesn't mean it can't really pop out at you.
Oh yeah, and like I said, Mortighull is proof of that. Like it's a very basic paint application, but it still pops out you because some of the places where I think where his base body is a basic paint, it highlights and it makes everything else like his face and his paint application and the swords and armor. It makes it stand out more because it's so basic.
And not only that, you got the sword paint where it goes from shiny to kind of like a dull, rusty look at the top. And I honestly think that Oglavaeil, you know, in my opinion, has a better paint application. Not saying that Mortighull is. I just think that I like Oglavaeil's better.
Okay. All right, so for the paint application, we're just gonna do a tie because me and him couldn't agree.
Right.
Yeah. So that's our.
I mean, it's nothing against either one.
No, it's not.
It's just personal preference, I guess.
Yeah, and I think so too. All right, so for the paint application, we're just gonna do tie because we couldn't decide. I think Mortighull, he thinks Oglavaeil.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get to the final category now, and that is overall. So overall, in your opinion, which one is the better statue?
Personally, overall, I honestly think Oglavaeil's the better statue.
Well, really?
Yeah. I think Oglavaeil's a better statue just because I think that the skeleton general or the skeleton soldier is just so overdone. And we've seen it so much. And it's so easy to it's easy to make a mistake on this. But they didn't make any mistakes. But I don't know, maybe it's just I've seen it so much. So many skeleton soldiers throughout video games, you know, comic books, movies, Army of Darkness, you know.
Right.
Maybe that's all it is. I mean, we don't really get to see anything unique like we do with Oglavaeil. There's nothing. I mean, not saying that Mortighull is a bad statue. I just think that it's just so, you know, something that we've seen so much before. And not to say that they didn't do their own thing. Well, you know, like make his armor outstanding. If anything, that would be the best part of it.
His armor, yeah.
But still, it's still a skeleton soldier, you know. Rather than an executioner with his pet dog.
Right. A dog with hands for feet.
My God. Yeah. I'm just, personally, you know, that's what I think.
Okay. Now for me, I even agreeing with a lot of the things that Anubis just said, I still have to give it to Mortighull. It's just that statue has so much detail. I mean, the armor is amazing. Like you can tell, man, whoever did the original sculpt and paint for Mortighull, man, they put so much time and effort, with the exception of the sword, of course, but they put so much time and effort
into the etching,
because that's a lot of damn work.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Like, that's so many skulls, so many different designs, and so many different things.
So different. I mean, the armor goes from like bone plates to wings.
Right.
You know? And, I mean, it is a very well done statue. I mean, it's very well done.
Right. And like I said, I can agree with Otis. I'm about to say, I'm sorry. I can agree with Anubis, man, that I agree the skeleton thing has been overdone in media. That still does not take away from the fact that there's so much detail as far as his base, his armor, and even his paint application. There's so much to really look at and enjoy on Mortighull. Now, Oglavaeil, don't get me wrong, man. Like, this is like he's one of the first. That's why I really like him. And then with the inclusion of Scratch and being able to combine his base with Scratch does make this a little bit closer, because there's a lot more things you can do with Oglavaeil. So you can pose him by himself. You can pose him with Scratch. He has these two amazing swords on his statue. The way his armor is on his, as far as on the back of his, where he's like bone spines, and just with how his weapons, with crocodile leather, and his swords tell a story, which is crazy. They were able to put in those swords such a small detail, because these swords are maybe say about 6 inches long, maybe about 2 inches wide, and they still were able to put a story in his swords. And that's amazing in itself, being able to get that amount of detail into something so small. But I just still think Mortighull, man, is just there's so much detail with him.
I think Mortighull's a little bit more intricate.
Yeah, it is.
Rather than as Oglavaeil is not. I mean, he's got some intricate parts like his skin folds, and
right?
Stuff on his neck, and
his hands,
the little baby arms,
the little nubs, baby nubs,
little nub feet.
And again, we're including scratches because it's Oglavaeil and Scratch.
Right.
So I mean, even with the inclusion of Scratch, with the paint application on him, just the detail in his spinal cord, his face. The hands for feet, which is fucking creepy, man. It really is.
Could you imagine that getting like on top of you, trying to like?
Ugh.
He'd probably punch you.
Can you imagine? Well, that's the thing about like if the dog attacks you. Can you imagine a dog with hands for feet?
Oh
like,
no!
You're trying to hold him off of biting you, and he can still strangle you with his own hands. That's creepy. Yeah. But yeah, man, I'd still, for me overall, I'd still have to give it to Mortighull just for the amount of detail that's in his statue.
I think it's the intricacy in it.
And for me, that's what it is. That armor is just so detailed and intricate, man, that it's hard to take your eyes off of it. Mortighull is not, and in the whole Quarter of the Dead collection, Mortighull is not one of the statues that immediately draws your attention to it. Especially when you have him set up, like I have him set up with other Quarter of the Dead statues next to him.
Oh, hell, you got him set up right next to Death. And
no, Mortighull I do, but remember, I have Oglavaeil next to two of the best Quarter of the Dead statues.
Yeah.
No, Gethsemane version 1 and Malavestros. Those are the two best that they've ever come out with, in my opinion.
Though. I mean, you put him right smack dab in the middle, and he still hold his own up against them.
No,
I don't know if Mortighull would be able to do that.
I think he would because of his armor and the detail in his armor. He would be able to hold his own more next to them because the detail in his armor would still draw your attention. But don't get me wrong, it would still be hard to do against those two. Right. Like Mortighull, Galavarb and Malavestros, that's a pretty hard combination to live up to.
You know, you put him in between them two.
His size is more of what catches your attention than anything else, because this is a pretty big statue.
Oh, it's heavy.
Especially compared to the other Quarter of the Dead statues. This is a pretty big statue.
I think it's a little bit heavier than most of them, too.
Yeah, it is. And that's what will draw your attention more, is the size of the character more than the intricacy of the statue itself.
Yeah.
So I had to give it to Mortighull for the overall.
Mortighull?
Yeah.
Well, I'm still sticking with Oglavaeil.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, we'll just do a tie for the overall then.
All right. That's
yeah,
good for me.
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think that sometimes, we've always said too, sometimes less is more.
Right.
And sometimes something so basic can mean the world of difference.
And I agree. Like I said, I just think Mortighull, it fits like for his character itself. The simplicity of his entire statue fits him. He's just an executioner.
Right.
So he doesn't need no real intricate base.
Yeah, he doesn't need armor.
No, he doesn't.
Or anything like that. He just goes in, he gets the prisoner and executes him.
Right. So his look fits his character, which is one of the main things I love about the Quarter of the Dead. The looks of each statue fit the character itself.
Right.
Like they don't overdo it with each statue. Whatever they need for the statue itself and that character and his position or backstory in the underworld, they make sure its look fits to that description. And Oglavaeil just being an executioner, it fits to him. Mortighull being a general and a warrior, his armor and his look fits him. So it just for me, I just think the intricacy of his armor just makes it more noticeable and it pops more.
Right. Which I mean, I can't blame you.
No. I mean, I wouldn't blame anybody from choosing Mortighull because it's a really good statue.
Yeah, Oglavaeil or
Mortighull. Either one of them. Oglavaeil, yeah. It doesn't matter. Like I say, that's one of the things that the Quarter of the Dead excels at is it does each character so well.
It's so consistent.
It really is.
It's so consistent.
Man, it really has been.
Consistently good. Some of them are great, but it's consistently good.
Right, exactly. There's really no bad statue in the Quarter of the Dead. I've yet to see one.
They all have pretty awesome poses.
Yeah.
They all have good paint. Hopefully, I don't know.
I'm curious to see what's the guy's name? The Hulk character. I forgot his name.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't remember his name, everybody.
The dude that they're making out of PVC.
Yeah, which I don't mind.
Hey, he's a big fucking guy.
Yeah, but
he'll probably be the biggest one.
I'm more excited to see Poxel and Ravlatch. Those are the two I'm more excited to see. more than anything else. Like I gotta have the guy. I can't remember his name now for some reason. Odium. That's my thing. Let's see. Yes, there we go.
It takes me a minute, but I got it.
But I as much as I want to see Odium because he's such a huge character, I'm more excited for Poxel and Ravlatch because
which one's the Crusader?
That's Ravlatch. One that's holding up the shield and that's Ravlatch.
The one with like the Crusader looking.
Yep. So he's actually the one I'm most excited for. And the second version of Shard. Finally, they are releasing it.
Oh.
They're gonna do it. Yeah.
Oh, finally.
Finally. I cannot wait to see her second version.
Man, I bet she's gonna be epic.
Oh,
that might end up being the best woman out of them.
If it sticks to what if they do it the way it looks, it's gonna be amazing. So yep.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, everybody. So that's the end of this video. So don't forget to let us know in the comment sections, man, which one do you prefer? Oglavaeil or Mortighull? And give us some reasons why you choose that one. But this was fun, man. Like I said, man, I just enjoy talking about the Court of the Dead.
Anything Court of the Dead related.
Yeah, so if there's any other things, like I said, don't worry, guys and gals, that we're still trying to figure out a way how to do like our spotlights for each character.
Right.
You know, we're still trying to figure out a way, trying to work out everything, how we're going to do that. So those videos will be coming. We're trying to figure out how to do them right because we don't want to sacrifice quality. We want these things to be interesting for you guys who don't own like the books and stuff like that, who want to know more about the backstory of the character. If anything, give us some feedback. Let us know how you would want those videos done.
Yeah, we don't want to half-ass it.
No, we don't. So we want to whole-ass that. That's right. Yeah. So let us know how you would want us to present the characters there. Yeah, the character spotlights. If you just want the statue in front of us, talking about their history and stuff like that, we'll do that.
Or you want to go by faction,
or something like that. Or if you just want us to do pictures while a voiceover or narration or something like that,
like a podcast.
Yeah, something like that. So let us know what way you would want us to do the character spotlights. We need your help. All right, so don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. Hit that bell notification to get notified of our future videos. I'm Carolina Hitman.
I'm Anubis.
We'll see y'all next time. Thanks for joining Cracker Hunters. Peace.